Inside America's most violent prisons, gangs, power, the fight to survive. Don't miss the next case. Subscribe, like, and share your thoughts below. The steel door slammed shut behind Officer Ramirez. In the dim hallway of San Quentin's death row block, a guard's radio crackled. Code 3, possible riot in cell block D. Moments later, the sound of gunfire echoed through the tier. By the time reinforcements arrived, 3 inmates lay motionless on the cold concrete floor, blood pooling in the shadows. One man, barely breathing, finger bleeding, whispered a name: Black Gorilla Family. Investigators rushed inside. The crime scene looked like a war zone. Shattered glass, overturned chairs, and deep gouges scratched across cell walls. But the worst discovery came near the back. A crude wooden shank, stained dark, hidden beneath a mattress. Nearby, a note scribbled in shaky ink read, "Betrayal has its price." Governor's office scrambled. The warden's face turned pale. Word traveled swiftly. The prison's most powerful gangs were at war. And inside those walls, the battle was about to get darker. But the chaos began weeks earlier. 2 inmates had secretly begun speaking with investigators, offering testimony about corruption in the guard ranks. One was a low-level member of the Mexican Mafia, who claimed he possessed recordings of money exchange between officers and gang lieutenants. The other was a convicted murderer tied to the Aryan Brotherhood, promising to expose a trafficking ring of contraband behind bars. Their defiance had rattled the powers that be. From that moment, whispers spread through the tiers. Someone must silence them. But as the investigators pieced together the fragments, the shank, the note, the guard's radio logs, they realized the revelations reached far beyond San Quentin. And then the phone lines to Pelican Bay lit up. A second riot was underway across the state prison system. When they arrived at Pelican Bay, what they found in the isolated security wing shattered all assumptions. Several bodies, tortured, chained in darkness. The signature, the same cryptic warning, had appeared there too. The message was clear. No one would be allowed to talk. As investigators prepared to confront the gangs, they had no idea where betrayal waited. But before the press could be told, a final courier slipped into a guard's pocket. In the dim light, its message chilled them to the bone. You can't hide the truth. We're coming for you. The morning after the coordinated riots, California's Department of Corrections declared a state of emergency. News helicopters circled above San Quentin and Pelican Bay, capturing the smoke rising from the rooftops. Inside, investigators from the FBI's Organized Crime Task Force were escorted through cell blocks littered with debris. Every corner told a story of violence. Burnt mattresses, smashed security cameras, and symbols etched on the walls. Crude emblems of the Aryan Brotherhood and the Mexican Mafia, drawn in blood and soot. Agent Rebecca Cole led the federal inquiry. She'd spent years studying prison gang networks, but what she uncovered here was beyond anything she'd seen. Cell phones seized from the riot zones revealed coded text chains between inmates hundreds of miles apart, planning simultaneous uprisings. Someone on the inside, a guard or an administrator, had leaked schedules, patrol rotations, even key access codes. The corruption went deep. By the second week, the investigation traced the leaks to a former correctional sergeant, David Hensley, who had recently resigned from Pelican Bay under medical leave. But when agents arrived at his rural home outside Eureka, they found it abandoned, his car still in the driveway and his badge on the kitchen counter. On the wall, in black marker, someone had scrawled the same phrase from the prison notes: "Betrayal has its price." As they searched the property, a neighbor mentioned a strange vehicle parked near the house 2 nights before. A dark van with tinted windows, no plates. That was the last time anyone saw Hensley. His disappearance sent shockwaves through the department. If the gangs were targeting former guards, no one was safe. Meanwhile, inside San Quentin, surviving inmates whispered about a secret meeting, a peace summit between rival gang leaders, planned deep within the prison's laundry facility. Rumors said the meeting wasn't about peace at all. It was about uniting against the outside world. Agent Cole pushed for surveillance, but when her team tapped the prison's cameras, the feed suddenly went dark. A system-wide blackout, timed perfectly with the rumored summit. Minutes later, chaos erupted again. Explosions echoed through the corridors as inmates set fire to their bedding, creating thick clouds of smoke. Guards scrambled for control. In the confusion, an officer went missing, last seen being dragged toward the old storage block where cameras didn't reach. When the smoke cleared, the officer's radio was found near a locked steel door. Inside that room, investigators heard muffled cries. They broke it open, and what they found inside changed everything. The room was pitch dark, the air thick with smoke and sweat. When the steel door finally burst open, flashlights cut through the haze, revealing a horror no one expected. Officer Jordan Reeves was bound to a chair, bruised but alive. Around him, walls were covered in strange markings, gang symbols, arrows, and names written in chalk. On the floor lay a recorder, still running. Agent Rebecca Cole picked it up and pressed play. A gravelly voice echoed through the speaker. "We built this system," it said. "You can lock us in cages, but we run them from the inside." The voice belonged to Samuel Red Dog Carver, A.H., high-ranking Aryan Brotherhood member, who had been reported dead 3 years earlier. Yet his voice on the tape was fresh, recorded days ago. The tape also mentioned Operation Concord, a secret alliance between rival gangs meant to seize control of multiple state prisons simultaneously. Cole realized the riots weren't random. They were coordinated attacks, distractions meant to hide something far bigger. She ordered a full lockdown across California's prison system. But before the order could be executed, a call came through from the state's central command. Another riot had just erupted at Folsom Prison, more than 150 miles away. The same symbols, the same methods, the same chaos. It became clear that the gang networks had evolved. They were no longer just rival factions. They were unified under a single chain of command, communicating through corrupt guards and smuggled devices. Inside the chaos, they'd created an invisible empire. Each riot wasn't rebellion. It was recruitment. Meanwhile, Reeves, the rescued officer, whispered something that made Cole's stomach drop. He claimed he'd been forced to deliver messages between officers, that someone high in administration was leaking federal documents to the gang leaders. The corruption wasn't just inside the prisons. It had spread to the very people meant to control them. That night, agents raided several correctional staff homes. 2 guards confessed to receiving payments from an unknown account offshore. When authorities traced the transactions, they led back to a company registered in Nevada, under a false name, David Hensley, the missing sergeant. He hadn't been kidnapped. He'd been orchestrating everything. Cole ordered an arrest warrant immediately, but before the team could move in, an explosion ripped through a storage yard behind San Quentin. Flames engulfed a parked van. Inside, they found fragments of a phone, a badge, and a burnt envelope addressed to Agent Cole. Scrawled on the paper, just 2 chilling words. Still inside. The message was clear. The war behind bars had only just begun. If this case stunned you, the next one will haunt you. Subscribe for what's coming.